I created this project to highlight the people and brands that are the driving force behind the East Coast cannabis scene. The innovators, the problem solvers, risk takers, outlaws. This industry is emerging from the underground and making its way down Main Street in a town near you. These are the pioneers of the East and their stories.
The Pharmacist is the brand that we created to embody a lifestyle that we lived while cannabis was illegal during Prohibition. And there was a lot of camaraderie around the plant. There was a lot of love, and for me, it got me into a lot of circles and like hip hop and music and shit that I would have never got into without cannabis being the catalyst. So for me, it started out as an easy idea. I came up with like the skunk idea, like something that looked the part, had to, represented what we were doing, and then just built it from there into, events and merch and, we branded everything now, helicopters and buses. As soon as Rhode Island got a medical program, we started growing. We were able to sell to dispensaries before it was super regulated. It was kind of dope. It was like a pawn shop almost, like it was unheard of. You could just take weed, bring it to a dispensary, they'd give you cash, you'd walk out, you just made a legal sale or something. It was crazy. Prices were good. 2008, 2009, 2010, we're growing commercially. Probably around 2013, met Adam Dunn from THC. He was a good family friend, and it was like one of those people that you always hear stories about that you don't believe is true. Like, my cousin's this dude in Amsterdam. You're like, all right. Met him, was like, holy shit, had tons of synergy, got along great. Hooked up, then we created Cannabis All-Stars in 2013 or 14 was the idea, around the time that we launched that. Huge hit. Nothing like that had really been done before on the East Coast. We did it in Pawtucket Armory. Had 300-400 people that got tickets. Nobody knew where it was. It was like we had texted everybody that morning with the address because we didn't want anything to get out. We, gave away tons of dabs, and like that was the start to doing all this shit. And it was so fucking scary. Like at that point, like who's coming? Are the cops coming? Blah, blah, blah. And then it's been almost 10 years now of doing great shit with nothing that no bad repercussions. Nobody's gotten hurt. No, it's been a great community, and I've seen probably at least 50 major brands and dope shit start from like where I've like seen these people start off in their shit, and a lot of them have transitioned into legal grows and in different states, and it's been a dope ride to see all these other people growth. And for me, I'm not even really watching my own, I'm watching other people grow, and like it's kind of cool to see the whole community grow, and it's been dope. So Adam Dunn from THC is just pretty much the reason that anybody ever took my shit serious from day one with Cannabis All-Stars. And with that, we booked Noriega, hip-hop artist, legend, and became good friends with him right off the rip. Same with Adam, just linked. From there, we booked Nori every year, ended up on tour with Nori, doing tour management in Canada and shit, and from there, that's been the catalyst. So weed got me into the circles, the places that I would have never got into, and weed was the binding factor between all the people that I met in the beginning that, at one point we're getting arrested for this plant, that are like coming together. The weed man for the rappers that came into town was like that coveted spot. No, they had to have a guy. It couldn't just go into a dispensary. So, we got to meet up with Rick Ross, Snoop Dogg, like mad people from Adam's connections to people like that we ended up just like hooking up with Bud and, building relationships. And it's just been a natural, organic ride from there. And this year is about to be our 10-year anniversary. So it's pretty fucking dope. For me, we started with Cannabis All-Stars before there was dispensaries, before there was anything. It was home grow. It was, that legacy market. And, High Times was a big catalyst at that time. They had the Cannabis Cup from Amsterdam, and this was like the one thing that happened, but nothing that happened out here really. So for us, we created an East Coast wave with our shit, and then kind of like built it up, and then as legalization came and people are moving into those other industries, like I was saying, and friends are getting legal things, we pretty much had to figure out a way to adapt into that market as well without turning our backs on the other markets. So we created Cultivators Cup, which was the first licensed legal cannabis competition in the entire country. We beat High Times to a new idea, which was great. And we came up with the idea to work with retail partners that would sell our kits for us, and then we would work with all the wholesalers and get everybody together to actually form the competition. So it started in Rhode Island, and I started it with regulators that hated me at the time. So it was probably one of the hardest, trickiest things to navigate. Was I have a billboard campaign going against the DBR at this point, and all these people like on principle, and then now it's like, hey, I found this idea that seems 100% legal. You don't really have to give me many permissions, but you got to allow these people to write in. We navigated that, and they let us do it in Rhode Island, which was a super hard market to get it done in, So we did it twice there, and now we still have Cannabis All-Stars, which is for one market, and then now we have this one, which is for a whole other market and the same market that wants to see what the competition is. So for us, we had to evolve into something that, one, was going to be much bigger than you could even do legally in the legacy market, and then two, into a brand that is recognized as the most reputable awards for something, because it's blind judging. Our biggest sponsors aren't our biggest winners, and we don't care about that. Like, and we tell people straight up, like, whatever you're thinking about putting in, make sure you're doing it for the marketing and what you think you're getting in it, because you're not going to buy a win. And that's like the number one thing with cups is how do you give away and how's the integrity of it. So for me, it's like, it's not about who wins necessarily. It's about shining lights on who's doing it right. So tons of people are the winners to somebody that likes it, and it's about letting them find out. There's 28 different competitors that competed this year, so it's about shining lights on them and letting the consumer find out themselves. Because if you only live near one dispensary, you might not find out the ones on the other side of the state. So we were able to compile a kit of what we think is the best of the best. We are expanding into multiple different states with Cultivators Cup. Cannabis All-Stars we do plan to bring back to Rhode Island to start this year, and then maybe incorporate all of New England, since pretty much everybody except for New Hampshire is now legal. So kind of celebrate the whole East Coast in that, the social club that we're at now, and different stuff we got going on. We just try to make everything progress as we go every year, and work with good folks like you guys and get the word out, and just try to make it so everybody's got a part in it and everybody can make something out of it for themselves. So Pharmacist 420 at Cultivators Cup, Twitters, tweeters, Facebooks, all that. Follow along, show support. We'd appreciate it all. Also shout out Bay Grown Media. Get one of those in there.